Can go.
Do you want to start again?
Okay.
Okay.
You can clap again.
And welcome to installment of Phone a Friend. I'm Livia,
I'm Joanne.
and today we're going to talk about gap years. So my name is Livia. I am a recent poly graduate, and right now I'm taking a gap year because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into university or if I wanted to start working. So yes, that's why I'm taking a gap year. What about you?
I'm Joanne. I graduated from JC in 2020, so that was 2 years ago. And why did I choose to take a gap year was because I was rejected from my dream course. but but yeah, so I'm currently a first year university student at SMU. Yeah.
Okay.
So I took my gap year after I graduated. So I was intending to start university in August of 2021, but I took a gap year until August 2022 and just entered university. Yeah. So today we'll be answering some questions from Instagram. At Kiwi Lover said, what do you actually do during a gap year and like why even take one?
Okay, so for me is to give myself a bit of clarity of what I want to do in my future, because my diploma is basically about business. I'm not sure if it's something that I want to pursue in the future. So for me right now, I'm taking an internship in communication, something that is not exactly related to my diploma, to give myself some clarity of choice. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Clarity. I was very confused and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I think taking the gap year for me was to allow myself time and give myself experiences to explore different internships or like volunteering things. Just doing everything I wanted to do, I wanted to try. And I think from there, I learned to realize like things what I liked, and then I got more clarity about direction in life. Yeah.
So, next question from Persis. I'm on a gap year now and I feel so pressurized to do something. Do I have to do something?
No, you don't have to do something. I think like Singapore society is always like rushing us to have our future all planned out and everything and to know the next steps. Like for me, what I realized is that like we go from primary school, secondary school, then JC, poly or ITE, and then from there university. All these like are very expected things of us to just move on from one thing to the next. And I think that is one of the reasons why taking a gap year is good, because it allows you to step out of like that rat race and to give yourself a chance to see the world and life on a bigger perspective and not just like this like very narrow streamlined education pathway that we are kind of like trained and brought up in. Yeah, but I think it would be wise, you know, to use your time well and not necessarily to like hustle very hard to like always be doing something. I think using your time well also means to give yourself enough rest and enjoy also. But yeah, definitely I think having a some sort of plan about how you want to spend your time would be good. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna add on. like nice.
Okay, from Dorcas.Ng, great username, said, will I be falling behind if I take a gap year? What if I cannot catch up with everyone?
Okay, so I think this ties into what Joanne said for the previous question. Like, take time to figure out if you want to do a gap year, what is the goal of doing a gap year? Do you want to take this gap year to figure out what degree you're going to pursue in the future? Do you want to take this gap year to figure out your career options in the future? Like, try to think of what's the reason you're taking this gap year and this time to yourself, because you don't want to spend it like just a year doing nothing. And if you want to relax, at least make the most of it and like think of how you want to spend your time, how you want to move on after this gap year, because it is a gap year after all, it will end. So think about like what objectives you want to achieve at the end of everything. So yeah, don't worry about needing to catch up with anyone. You like, it's fine. You don't need to feel pressurized to go on any certain path. Make your own path. It's okay.
#wisdom. I was reading like this Instagram post recently, right? This like young adult person who like left her job and was like, I don't know what she's doing now, but it was very interesting. Like her caption was saying like, if I feel like I'm falling behind, then who was I even trying to race with? So it's like, yeah, I mean, like you said, just do your own thing. You don't need to race with anyone.
What's up with
What's up with stuff? From Junqi, what if I don't know what I want after my gap year? How do I like make the most out of it to figure out what I want? Good question.
I think we are very lucky because nowadays there are a lot of resources out there for us to figure out what we want to do. Like there's a lot of opportunities for us to decide, like, oh, there are classes, there are courses, there are things that we have available to us if we just went to Google, you know. So if you're not sure, maybe you can always go back to your schools and ask for guidance. If you're from JC, you can go back to your teachers and ask. If you're from poly, there's always career guidance counselors around to ask for questions. Yeah, so we are very lucky because we live in this day and age that there's a lot of available resources for us. Yeah.
I think what would be good is to first recognize that the gap year isn't for you to solve all your like future plans, because it's just 1 year after all. You're not gonna like solve everything. I think it's more so like a window of time to give yourself like, I guess, insight into the next few steps ahead, but not necessarily figuring all of it out, because I think we are still figuring things out. Yeah, and life will always be like figuring things out slowly. But I think to figure out using the gap year well to figure out kind of what you want is to maybe have like a, I guess, be organized about it, kind of have a plan, and I guess talk to people, whether it's friends, seniors, people working, your parents, just, you know, to hear their advice and get context about whether it's internship opportunities, just getting out there, exposing yourself.
From Abram Joes. Were your parents supportive? Because I don't know if my parents will allow me. How did you convince them? Okay.
I didn't have to convince them, they had to convince me. Yeah, no, like, okay, so for me, I think I am very exceptionally blessed in that sense, because my parents were the one to plant this idea in my head. But I think you have more to say about this.
Yeah, so for me, it was a little bit of the opposite. My parents were initially not that supportive of my gap year. They wanted me to go to university, and they had their reasons, but I also had my own thoughts about going to university straight away. I was quite hesitant about it. So my parents, they thought that it would be better for me to just continue my education path. But I would say how I managed to convince them was to let them know how I would be spending my time during my gap year, having like a plan to tell them like, oh, this is not a break for me to just relax after I finish my education, like I'm done. It was like, why do I want to take the gap year? And I had my reasons for clarity, and I told them like, okay, I will go to university eventually. Just give me a bit of time to take a break from this stressful times of like studying straight for so many years. Like, I just need one year of rest. So I guess like convincing your parents that you are going to make meaningful use of your time. Yeah.
Right. Maybe I can add on a little bit, because like I think I did something similar. Even though my parents were like encouraging me to take a gap year, I think what I did to help, like, I think it's always good to have open communication with your parents. So like I think at the start of the gap year, like every month or so, I would like regularly talk to my parents. Like we will set a date to like talk, like a date and time, you know, just this talk like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm planning this, what do you guys think? Yeah, I think open communication always helps, so they know that, okay, you know, you're figuring things out, it's okay, and maybe they can like help you also along the way. Yeah. Until dawn, would I have to explain the gap year on my resume to employers? Like, what if they ask, what do I say? So do you have to explain it to your internship employer?
Because right now I'm going through an internship, and I just graduated poly, right? So I was very open about this period of time where I was not sure what I wanted to do. So I told my employer, and she, luckily for me, my company is quite open about like youth development and stuff like this. So she was very open to me, like, it's okay, you don't need to have all things figured out. Like, you're still quite young, so it's okay. Like, for me, I have very understanding people around me, so yeah, I'm lucky lah, maybe. What about you? Uni applications?
Yeah. Actually, actually, universities like it if you take a gap year. Yeah.
Life hack.
Yeah, life hack. Pro tip.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Okay, I think it's a very unconventional thing in Singapore. And nowadays, people, like universities, are looking for the weirdos.
The weirdo.
Okay. So actually, universities kind of like it when students take a gap year and I think use their time well. I would like productively. Using their time productively, not necessarily like working and hustling very hard, but I think using it to if they can, like, in a sense justify, like, okay, I did this because I felt like I needed time to figure things out and I rested, but I also like worked, gained experiences, I traveled solo, I did backpacking, you know, there was something like that allowed you to gain experiences and figure yourself out. Yeah, and I think universities appreciate students who have a wider perspective on life, especially in Singapore where almost everyone goes through the same pathway. So it can be very hard to differentiate students. And I think just in general, going on a gap year, gaining these experiences does like shape you a bit more sometimes. Yeah, so it does help in giving them the characteristics they're looking out for. Yeah. Han_Guang_Jin. How do you know you should take a gap year and how do you decide?
I feel like it was chosen for me because I didn't get into uni after applying after my diploma. So yes, in a sense I was chosen to go for a gap year, also because I didn't really want to go to university. I was very uncertain. So for me, thinking how to spend the time productively was very important because I feel like for most of my education I've always been like prepped beforehand. Yes, prepped beforehand. So like wanting to jump into university blind really scared me. So I decided, okay, I'll take a gap year and then I can get some job experience and ask my friends how is university life like and what should I prepare for my next year when I do go into uni. So yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, like you said, I think if you're feeling okay, maybe you can ask yourself, why shouldn't you take a gap year? Or why? As in, I think it wouldn't be something a lot of people think about. Maybe it's a thought in passing, but it's more like a hypothetical, not like a I will actually make plans to take a gap year, because I know that I think if a reason you don't take a gap year is because you're scared to try, that's not a very good reason why you shouldn't take a gap year. So yeah, don't not take a gap year because you're scared. I don't know, that's like super convoluted.
Scared of university? Oh.
Or just like taking a gap year. People are scared to take gap years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like if I guess fear is the thing holding you back from taking a gap year, then you should ask yourself what you are scared about, like maybe falling behind.
Yeah.
Was that a question we talked about just now? Yes, right?
Yes.
Like the falling behind thing.
Yeah, I think fear of taking a gap year is a very real thing in Singapore because of the way everything is structured. If you fall behind, it really feels very pressurizing, but I think we've talked about like it's okay to take some time to breathe. Yeah, it's okay. Like you're not gonna die because you're 1 year behind all your peers. Like maybe you'll get to meet good people, like people younger than you, people older than you. It doesn't really matter. A lot of people are creating their own pathways in life, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, no pressure to, I guess, succumb to the norm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe practically speaking, also like financially, whether you can afford to take one, and you can also take the gap year to work or
Get some money for uni.
Correct. So there are like practical, like very practical considerations. You shouldn't also just like jump into one. I think like rush into one either. Yeah, I think it's an important decision because while it is only 1 year, but it is also 1 year, so you want to use it well. So consider like finances, consider maybe talk to your family about it, like seniors, and yeah, if you're feeling like okay, you don't really know what to do after like studies, whether it's working or like continuing, then yeah, I think it's okay to take a gap year. Have some solid plans out, may not solid, but some big ideas about what you want. Yeah.
From Zelda_Sukiya. How was it like going back to studying after not doing it for a while? Was it tough to adjust back to uni? Was it?
Okay, at first I was still very excited. I was very excited to go back because it's like, wow, school again. That's quite exciting, you know, like something, something new again, I guess, to some degree. I'm not sure if I found the first semester of uni quite challenging because the pace is very fast, and like professors, they all expect a lot from you. So I'm not sure if that's a me thing because I took a gap year, or if everyone feels that. I wouldn't say it's too difficult going back in, adjusting back. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, okay, think about it. Like the guys have to take 2 years off. I think they will also be struggling a bit. Yeah. So yes, it will not be too bad. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go to uni, but when I started my internship, I really, because I took a few months before I actually found an internship and started the internship. So I was like very honest with my supervisor for the first few months. I was like, my brain isn't ready. I'm still warming up. I'm sorry, and shit. Like just giving yourself that bit of space to be gentle. Like it's okay. Like you will slowly work up to it, I guess, if you really wanted to. Self-discipline.
Yeah. Haken. Actually, what are some downsides taking a gap year? Like I'm trying to weigh the pros and cons.
I feel it's more of a emotional thing. Like you feel like, oh, maybe I'm slower than my peers. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I feel like I'm not being productive enough during my gap year. A lot of it is just how you talk to yourself, which is something that I feel after a while being in a gap year, you learn how to be kind to yourself and to know that it's okay to take time and figure out your life.
I mean, I agree. I think it's mostly like emotional. So like it is quite, and doing anything unconventional is hard. Whether it's taking a gap year or doing something else that is unconventional will always be hard at first because it does feel a bit more lonely. Like people will not, it feels like all your friends are doing something different, so you're kind of on the journey alone. I think for me, I was quite thankful because I had a few friends who were taking one friend in particular who was taking a gap year also, but we were doing very different, like we had very different ideas of how a gap year would look like, so even then we couldn't like always be together. And I think even though that I don't know what you call it, psychological sadness I don't know
Sadness?
I don't know what it's called, but that difficulty is like a mental challenge, mental hurdle you will get over. And I think it does also make you more independent as a person, and you kind of care less about what other people are doing in their lives, and you just like decide to, you know, you do you.
Yeah, it's a mental thing.
Yeah, and it's important life skill, and I think in the long term, like as adults, you're also gonna do your own thing, so you can't really always be with your friends anyway, so gotta do it now. Never. I mean, not never, now.
Yeah, if you really think about it, like in primary school, secondary school, poly or JC, you're always surrounded with people who are doing the same thing. When you're out in the real world, you're going to be alone. That sounds very sad, but it's true lah. You will be creating your own success. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One more question. from Hikarin. Yes, from Hikarin. Would you recommend people to take a gap year? Or maybe what sort of people do you think should take one?
Would you?
Do we say it together?
I don't know. I don't know what is your answer.
Are you gonna say no?
No, I'm gonna say yes, of course. I was so happy when she took a gap year.
Because I took it after her, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you recommend people to take a gap year?
One, two, three.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think it was really good for both of us to take gap years because for me, I have like a little bucket list of what I want to do. So now that I have the time, I just graduated. It's like, why not take this opportunity to do what I want? Yeah.
I agree. Cause when university comes, other like life, like jobs start coming in, you really don't have as much luxury of time. And if you, okay, I know we talked about like not falling behind, but if you want to talk about falling behind, I think the pressure is even greater when you're older. So I think after JC Poly, that would be a great time to take one. Yeah, and what sort of people should take one?
There's a type of person,
I don't
but
know.
like I do have a lot of friends. Okay, not a lot, but I have this one friend in particular who took a gap year, and she was very, how do you say it? She was very good in her studies. It was so unconventional for her to go and take a gap year. She was like acing in her diploma and everything. So when she decided to take a gap year, everyone's quite shocked. Like, why did you do it? Because you're perfectly capable of going to work. You're perfectly capable of going to any university degree you want. But she took this gap year to kind of, I guess, learn more about herself, her as a person. So she took a solo trip and she went to Bali and it was so cool. Oh my goodness, you should see her Instagram.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Wow.
She showed me yesterday. I went to stalk her. Very cool girl.
I plugged her here. Okay, no. But anyway, she took a trip to Bali and she filmed a lot of videos and like met a lot of different people from all around the world because a lot of tourists at Bali, you know. So she managed to meet people from Korea, from Japan, from Bali, the local people as well. And it really expand her perspective on life and like how Singapore is such a fast-paced society. And Bali, it was just like every day she would walk along the beach, just go and enjoy the waves. Ooh. Yes, it was really seeing her and her growth during her gap year was really inspiring. And I think that a lot of people don't see that, at least in Singapore. They think academics is so important, but there's so much more to life than that lah. Yeah, so I guess I don't think there's a type of person that should take a gap year. It's just thinking, what do you want to do with your life? Yeah.
I think as long as you're willing to give the gap year, like, or you've got really like go for it, make like go 100%, you know, whatever you do, go for it 100%. And then as long as you're not gonna like just stay at home the entire gap year, I think you're good. I think just don't stay at home the entire gap year. I think that's okay.
Yeah, be productive with your time. There's so many things you could be doing, so many things you could be learning
and trying, and you know, just growing yourself in some way. Whether it's like I think just balancing like rest but also experiences.
Any final words of
I don't know
advice?
what to say. I mean, it also depends like why you're taking the gap year. Some people don't. Maybe it's like health reasons or like financial reasons. There's really so many reasons someone could be taking a gap year. So but I think to have like a end goal in mind about like what you hope to grow in the gap year, whether it's like physically, mentally, you know, emotionally, or like gaining experiences stuff. Yes, have a big goal.
Okay, I guess my final words of advice were to be don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, there are many resources out there, many people out there that you can ask for advice about. What you want to do with this time is very important. Yes, and use it productively. Yeah, so don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, if you you can't find anybody, there's always like courses online. Really, like
Yeah.
it's so easy to find like LinkedIn programs. There is like
LinkedIn.
yeah, LinkedIn programs. Really build up your LinkedIn. It's very useful. Like building your network and connections. Like helping you find your next steps. But I guess another thing is really not to stress yourself out. Yeah, because like we always overlook the importance of rest and relaxation, and that's something very important for everyone if you want to.
Yeah, and I think okay, instead of looking at it as like one big like gap year, you can look at it as like chunks or like different periods. That's what I did. Like broke it up into different seasons, so that it's like more bite-sizable, like manageable. You kind of like have a few steps forward. You know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Okay, punch the bell.
Don't forget to click here for more and click here to subscribe. This one is the JC versus Poly video.
Can you even do that?
Can I?
Does it new control the videos?
JC versus Poly.
Click this.
What is this one?
I don't
The
know.
the
Click
bell?
this video. This video here.
I don't know where, but it's somewhere. Don't forget to
and
like and
subscribe.
subscribe. And do the dogs look like us? Comment below.
Comment below the dogs look like us.
I don't want to be a dog.